since we're just like starting out in our career as well, in our professional career as programmers, this is something that I think about a lot, which is that if I need to be the jack of all trades, if it's okay to be the jack of all trades and master of none, or should I really master a technology or like a language, a framework, really master it, and then know a little bit about like the rest of the frameworks.
Yeah.
So
and before you can answer, we will also give you a little what I think, or what both of us think, if she agrees.
Yeah, I'd love
think
to hear
that,
your feedback.
Yeah, I think that right now I personally prefer to be a jack of all trade and kind of master of none, because from what I have been reading and looking into is that if you know something, if you know one thing and no one else knows it better than you, that thing might just go away in 3 or 4 years. So I personally started doing, okay, I should know a little Docker, so that if my company, if my job requires some knowledge of Docker or Kubernetes or AWS or Angular, I should know that. I shouldn't be like, I have no idea what that is and I'm not going to do that. Like, just to be open to new challenges, I think I should be a jack of all trades. And if I'm working on one thing for a long time, I'll naturally become a master of that. But some people have a completely different perspective. So like, what's yours?
Well, so here's what I think. So that's a tough one, because I feel like I get really excited about new technology. So if I see something new, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to work with that. And I never get a chance to do it, but in my mind, I'm thinking that. So here's what I would tell people to do. First, and this is very practical, right? So this is not philosophical. This is very practical. Do you need a job? Right? Like, are you working or not? So if you're not working, I would look at what's hot in my area, what the job listings are asking for, and I would learn that as quickly as possible, do some tutorials, start to get up to speed with what's in my area. Because when you need a job, like, eating comes first, right? Yeah. Eating comes before curiosity. So do that. Then the second thing is as I think about, okay, so what happens long term in your career? Mm-hmm. I think what's really interesting is understanding the underlying trends of what's important. So should you learn AWS or Google Cloud Platform? I think you should understand what cloud means, right? And what the cloud services do, because they all kind of do the same outcome with different approaches. Exactly, right. So if you understand what AWS does, then at a high level, then you understand what Google Cloud does. Then you have to like nail in and say, well, which one is right for you, right? And so, but you got to understand what's happening. Just like with front end frameworks, what's really interesting about React and Vue and Angular is like the idea of reactive programming that's in there, right? So understand reactive programming, because then you could jump between. That's what I loved about. That's why when I did Flutter for a while, I was doing some Flutter development. For mobile, so Flutter is a mobile cross-platform framework. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You write once, run everywhere, right? Mm-hmm. The reason I was able to jump into it is because I was teaching React for a while, and I understood, okay, you update the state, and then the state determines how the screen looks. So if you understand that pattern, it was quick to jump into this other thing. So when I got into Angular, that's the pattern that I was looking for. Okay, if I update the state, I want the screen to update, versus me manually, like this imperative style, like, and I want reactive programming, because that's what's important. And I think Vue is similar. I don't know. I've never written Vue code, but I imagine that Vue is probably similar. Update the state, and then the screen changes to match the state. But you see how it doesn't matter if I knew Vue or not to understand that concept. Yeah, right. Exactly. That's what you should focus on.
Yeah, that's a brilliant point. So basically, if you have your basics clear, then you can work basically with any language or framework. It's like if you know how to write a for loop or a recursive function.
Yeah, you could write it in like pretty much any language.
Exactly.